So welcome, right? Very excited that you were able to join us. My name is George Ansong, and I'm an investor. I've been doing it for a while now. I'll tell you more about myself. I'm also a realtor, real estate agent, and I'm also an entrepreneur. And it's interesting because as an agent, it gives me a different perspective on everything that's going on in the marketplace. And then as an investor, we buy, we sell, and so I'm very, very active in the market. I've been in real estate as an investor for a long time. This was back in the 1980s when I took, it gives my age away, right? When I took no money down seminar in New York. And that's where I bought my first property in Brooklyn, New York, and a couple more in New Jersey, Jersey City. And then the 1990s, I moved to this Georgia, Atlanta area. And of course, I've been here since the 1990s. When I came, I bought a few properties, I bought some businesses, I sold them. So I've been involved in this area for a very long time. Um, I formed a company with a friend of mine called Quadrant Investments. And then that was before the market crash. We were buying, fixing, and selling, doing all kind of neat stuff. And then let's see what happened. Okay, then if you remember in 2008, 2009, the market crashed, I don't think it's going to happen again, but who knows? But, a lot of people lost a lot of money, foreclosure was very high. We went through a whole bunch of pain, but I think we were able to survive. I also taught real estate courses in area colleges, including Kennesaw State University. I was there for 10 years. I wrote books. I organized real estate mentoring and coaching for my students. We went on field trips so that they can gain first-hand experience. Sometimes people really have to go and see what's going on in the market. Currently, I have a company called DAV Capital Partners, and I work with a construction partners that a licensed contractor that do most of the work that we manage. And we have over 30 years experience. And I just completed a book. It's called The Cash Flow Real Estate Agent. It's now on sale on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. It tells you about, fundamentals of real estate investment and also how, like, as agents can work with investors. So that is briefly my experience as an investor. So I've been involved for a very long time. That's my name and that's my company name. And this is my direct number and this is my email. And you can Photoshop it or take a picture or whatever. I'm always available. My goal is to really educate and impart what I've learned over the years to anybody that is interested in learning and growing and acquiring properties and stuff like that. And I love teaching too because that's my passion. I just love to teach what I've learned to people that are willing and able to learn. So briefly, that is something about myself. Now, before we go to the actual lesson that I'm going to teach, I have a brief outline that I try to teach. I call it the 10 building blocks of a profitable real estate deal. What are the 10 blocks? What are the 10 things that I believe that one should know when they want to get into this business? Even if you're in the business, how can this help you? I believe that one of the blocks is education. Like, for example, down how you have decided to come and learn, there's so much education, now they have podcasts, they have seminars, they have webinars, they have books, they have all kinds of things, because I believe that your level of knowledge corresponds with how much you can do. Because the more you know, the more strategies you know, the more you're able to put deals together, the more you're able to know what strategy to take, stuff like that. So I believe in continuing education, and although I've been in this business for a long time, I'm always learning. I'm always going to seminars. In fact, I call myself a seminar junkie. I just love to learn. To study. It's not surprising that I wrote a book. I don't know if you can see it. I wrote a book. I don't know. And yeah, the cash flow real estate. That's a book that I wrote. And I'm not surprised I wrote it because I always like to learn and stuff like that. It just published in December, and I'm very excited about it. Gives a lot of information. Also, so one of the blocks is education. The other one is what I call your winning formula. For example, I say, what is your winning formula? For example, my winning formula is to buy properties in specific location, fix them, sell them, buy, fix it. That's what I do. Before I was all over the place, but after all these years, that is my winning formula. And then it's not only now, what I also do is, and I will go more into details when we discuss that, right? I buy properties that will sell about $500,000 or more. So I bought property for, let's say, $200,000. I spent about $200,000 to construct it or fix it or rehab it, and we sell it for about $500,000 or more. See, so that's my winning formula. So say, for example, your winning formula would be, okay, you buy the property for maybe $150,000, put $15,000 in, refinance it, and do Airbnb. That would be a winning formula for you. Or you buy and rent, or you buy apartment complexes and rent. So there's so many winning formulas. So as you learn and as you take courses and as you study, try to come up with what do I really want to do in the market, because there's so much. It's such a vast field. Of course, in the beginning, you might dabble here and here and get to know what's going on. But then you can decide, say, this is really what I want to do. So like after all these years, and I've done rental, I've done everything, I've done all of that. And now I haven't done Airbnb, but because that's new. So, but it's good to know a winning formula, what you really want to do. And when we go into the actual text of my presentation, I'll tell you more about that. Now, another block that I believe we as investors have to know is the local market. For example, and if you can unmute yourself, then I'll ask you a question. And what is the market now? Now, like, let's say Georgia or Atlanta, the market. If I say, what is the market doing, right? As an investor, you have to be able to understand what's going on. For example, one, the interest rates are going high, right? What does it mean to you as an investor? Okay, another thing is that the market is now softening a little bit. Before, when we fix a property, we put them in the market, in a week or two, the property is sold, even for more than how much you even want it, right? So at the time, anybody that is an investor, you buy a property, you fix it, you put in the market, it sells in, maybe a week. And you think you know so much, or think you experience, but it's because of what the market is doing. So now the market is softening, right? So if you fix a property, you put it on the market, it might take maybe 30 days or more to sell it. So as an investor, you have to know what is going on in the local market. It's very, very important. For example, I have realized that, like, even I buy from wholesalers, people who sell, who sell wholesalers. I buy from wholesalers, right? Before, they weren't negotiating prices and stuff like that. They put their price there. If you don't want it, you get lost, right? But now they've been a little bit flexible. before they wouldn't even call you, you know. Now I have a guy calling me, oh, George, you know, are you guys interested? They weren't doing that about 2 months ago. They didn't care.
Right.
Because the market is changing. So we have to pay attention to what is happening to the market so that we can adapt our strategy. For example, now that the market is changing, the properties that we have to buy, we have to calculate it very well and make sure that the spread is good. All right. So that if it takes us longer to sell, we will still be able to make our money.
Right.
Okay? And so the market is able to tell us what to do. It's very, very important.
Right.
Okay. So that's the third block. The fourth block is a team, right? I believe that you have to have a good attorney, a good accountant, a good appraisal, a good inspector, construction people, and all that, right? It's a group that you assemble. For example, this is what I do, right? I buy a lot of properties from wholesalers, you know. So whenever I see a property, I try to go and meet them, right? So that they can be part of my team. Because then when I see a property we want to buy, I can call them directly. I say, hey, I saw this property. Hey, what? And then they will give me more information because I know them. You have a lender or something. I try to see them. I try to meet them. I try to have a relationship with them because it's relationship business. So to speak. Okay, so that is a team. You assemble a team. It's a team. Is somebody that you introduce yourself. Say, hey, I would like to do business with you. Can we have coffee or something like that? And you'll be surprised how it goes a long way. It goes a long way. For example, you've taken this course, you've met me, say, hey, George, it's just somebody that I would like to get to know more or get to maybe run some deals around him. So you can reach out to George, not me, but hey, you know, can we have a coffee? So since you look, hey, can we have a coffee? I want to run some things by you. I want to pick up your brain. I want to do this and stuff like that. So you'll be able to. And I did that a lot. I remember when I started back in New York, I had a guy, very rich guy, Tyler Hicks. You know, he was like my mentor. You know, I went to a seminar like you going, and after that, and I talked to him. I said, hey, I didn't know anything then. I was new. I didn't know. And, he said, yeah, just call me. So I'll call him, I ask him questions. But if you Google the name Tyler Hicks, TYLERHICKS, multi-millionaire in New York, you know. I used to call him, but he was busy. But he would spend about 5-10 minutes. Hey, George, I have to go and hang out.
Right.
You know, because he's a busy guy. But you know, I call him, you know, I ask him questions because I didn't know. Bought his books, you know, so he was part of my team. I was in pain. It's just somebody that you know that you can call for advice or for clarification or for suggestions and stuff like that. It's very good to know, have a resource, you know. The next thing is what I call capital to complete deals. You know, real estate investment is very capital intensive. It needs a lot of capital. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care if whatever, because capital, you are limited by your capital. All right. So that's why I'm always raising money for deals. We just invested about over $250,000 on a subdivision that we are invested in, right? So if I put such money away, into a deal, I need money. You always need money. And then even in conventional, let's say you go to borrow money, you bought 1 or 2 properties and you are renting, right? When you're going to borrow your third financing from a bank, right? They will say that you have your debt to equity ratio is high, so they're not going to give you any more money. So you cannot go even to the bank to borrow money anymore, right? So you have to look for private people, private capital to raise the money to do deals. In fact, but I don't know if you remember, how long ago, maybe a couple of months ago, Stacy, the founder of REI, we did a course called Raising $100,000 in 100 days or something like that, or 30 days, something like that.
Oh, yeah, I think I remember.
Yeah, I think it's, I don't know if it's on, you know, when it comes, try to go listen to it. It's very, very good.
Okay.
About 5 or 6 of us were speaking.
Okay.
And for example, I will tell you about how I raise capital when we go into our next session that I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
But capital is very, very important, because I can have 10 properties. All my money is equities in the properties, equities in the, I can have money now. I may not have a dime in my pocket. But property-wise, I'm very rich, but I might not have anything. In fact, I wrote an article, I'll post it next time. I said, why be a millionaire,
Yeah.
You see, because if I say I'm a millionaire, that means my assets minus my liabilities, I have $1 million in excess.
Mm-hmm.
And I might have $1 million, but it's not liquid. You see, it could be in equity. And, and I cannot go take equity to go buy anything. I have to go convert it to cash. You know what I mean?
Right.
So capital is very, very crucial as a real estate investor. And you have to be able to, like Stacey, he even went to take a course so that he can raise lots of money for his storage business, storage deal that he's doing, because that requires a lot of money. And so you have to be able to bring people into, somebody gives you $50,000, somebody 20 here, you put together, then you're able to big deals, but that takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a while. It takes trust, it takes money. People say, hey, George, how can somebody give you money? Now I'm going to say this, that I'm serious, but I'm not serious, right? Because as human beings, we are very, very greedy, So if I came and say, hey, Leon, I can, I have a deal, it's $100,000, I put 50,000, we can sell it for X amount of money, you can make X. I mean, you look at it. If you find a deal and it's good, you have people to invest in it. So the way I think your ability to find deals is very, very important in terms of raising money. Because if the deal is good, you'll find people.
Right.
Okay, I spent so much time on capital because it's very important. The next thing is what I call your exit strategy. What do I mean by that? When you buy a piece of property, what are you going to do with it? And in my thinking, you have to know what you're doing before you even buy it. Like in our case, we buy, we fix and sell. That's our strategy. Maybe your strategy will be buy to rent, or you buy and do lease purchase, or buy and owner finance, all kind of strategies. When I wrote the book, I was familiar with Airbnb, but now if I update the book, I'm going to include Airbnb because that has become a big exit strategy. 5 years ago, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't around. I mean, now people are writing books on it. So that's a big, big exit strategy. So that's what I mean by exit. What are you going to do when you buy the property? Another thing is the tax implication of your deal. When you buy a piece of property, you have to know what's going to happen because Uncle Sam is there and you have to account for whatever you're going to pay him to. All right. Like, for example, if you buy, fix and sell, right, you're getting what we call capital gains, right? So based on your tax rate bracket, you have to pay 15, 20, 30%, 40, whatever it is. Okay, because that's capital gains, you make the money. But if you're doing long-term lease, like you're talking about, that is passive income. So under the tax laws, that is treated differently. If you are doing owner financing, the income is treated differently. So you have to know the implication of your deals, the tax implication of your deal when you are doing a deal. So that's another block. The other one is also the risks involved. You have to consider what are the risks involved in me doing this deal. Now, everything being equal, right? Doing buy, fix, and sell or flip strategy is a higher risk strategy. Why? Because there's so much involved. And I don't know about you, but you've been involved with, if you have involved with contractors before, it's a big deal. There's always something going on. They might promise to finish at X amount of time, they won't finish. Whatever. There's so much variables that you cannot even control. Like I was talking about, we're going to get a permit, right? Now, imagine you've gone to borrow money to do a construction project, right? Every month, like in our case, because it's high end, we're paying about almost $3,000 a month, right? You're supposed to finish the project in 6 months, right? It's taking you 9 months to complete. Okay, so the profit that you're going to make, you're still using it to make payments. So if you are choosing a winning from like the second one, you have to also consider the risks involved. You know, buy, fix, and sell strategy is very, very high risk. Now, you know, and I bet that sometimes you watch TV and you see all these they're doing all these rehabs and they make it so easy, and you know, but the behind the scenes they don't show you.
Right.
You know, because you know, like they finish, oh, within 2 weeks time they completed. They didn't tell about that. If they went to permit, how long permit took, and all kinds of stuff. All the problem that they come and go, you know, it's much more involved than just TV that we see, right? If you don't take care, you might even lose money for a whole bunch of reasons.
Yeah.
So, like a beginning investor, like, you know, if you haven't done that, like if you want to do it, I would advise you to team up with somebody and do a couple of deals so you will learn. There's so much intricacies, you know, involved and stuff like that. You learn so much. And then you can branch in on your own. You know, that would be my, especially if you want to do buy, fix, and flip strategy, because it's more high risk and there's a lot of time involved. And like you say, time is money. You know, there's a property we finished right now. It has taken us so long, it's just unbelievable. We bought it at a time when the pandemic hit. All right, what happened? They closed everything. So you couldn't get a permit, you couldn't get anything, you couldn't. Meanwhile, by the bank, you know, they don't care. And then we go to private money. So they are under different regulation than, for example, conventional or FHA or whatever, or Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. They're different, you know, they don't care about forbearance and all that. They just want their money. So it took us longer. So the money that we were supposed to make, maybe whatever, maybe 100,000, dwindled to, you know, we'll be happy if we break even. You see, but and then we have gone to borrow money from people, you know, investors. So there's a lot of risk involved, you know. And most people wouldn't go into detail to tell you actually what's going on. They make it seem like, oh, everything is rosy. Right? That's not the case, you know. You know, like if I'm teaching and I'm teaching webinar, I would just let people know what's going on so that they would do the deal with their eyes open, so to speak. And finally, I said real estate is an ideal investment. Maybe you've heard this. I stand for income, D, depreciation, E, equity, A, appreciation, and leverage. Leverage, the ability to take, you have about $10,000 to control about $200,000, $300,000 worth of property, stuff like that. So that, in summary, is the background to when we go to actually take you through deals that I do, and I'll be referencing the 10 building blocks. Okay, you remember I told you about my winning formula, right? What I do, I have specific areas that we buy properties, because my research have told me that these areas, a lot of people are buying. There's a lot of activities there. We can buy the property for maybe 150, put 150 in and sell at this much. Through my research and everything, that's what I'll find out. And this is the zip codes. There's an area, I don't know if there's an area called Decatur called Scottdale, Scottdale, Scottdale. We do a lot of deals there because it's going through transition or I don't want to use the word, but it's going through transition.
Okay.
So we're able to buy properties. We have property there. Another place is Avondale Estate, 30002 in Decatur.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. That's
we buy, you know, we do a lot of deals there. We buy, now we have a property, we pay 170, 169 cash, you know, and that's what we're going through the we're going through the permitting process. It's taking longer and stuff like that, But for example, having not paid cash and we went to borrow money, right? We'll still be paying the interest because, we haven't started any construction at all. Okay. But our group, we put our money, so we bought it. So we have it. So we have another 30317, a property in Kirkwood. I don't know if it is a place called Kirkwood, Atlanta area, very hot area too. We just did a deal there and we sold it for about 600 and some change. All right. So in your case, for example, you can find an area that is nice, rental is good and all that, schools is good, and buy something there. So that would be the area that you select. So that's the first thing, that select specific vehicles to buy. Okay. Now, the next thing that I do is, the second one is, you remember we were talking about capital?
Yes.
Okay. I find people that I call them my front money partners. A friend, a family member, colleagues or somebody that maybe have money that they want to invest with us, right? When I was part of the raising 100,000 in 30 days. So I went into details, but I would tell you briefly what happens, right? Now, because we buy a property and we do heavy rehabs, right? Heavy one, we have to change the configuration of the inside, move walls and do all kinds of stuff, right? So we have to go and have architectural drawings, right? We have to have permit. We have to have service. We have to have engineering, sometimes we might even have to extend the extend add additional room or something like that. So we have to have engineering to make sure that it can hold the structure and everything. Okay. Now, you remember there's something called arbor, sometimes, we have to cut trees, and you can't just go cut the trees. You have to go and get a permit from the city. We have to go rent a dumpster. Sometimes you drive around and see those dumpsters.
Yeah.
They used to be cheap, now about $500, $600. Okay. Trash removal, carrying costs. We have to be paying interest when we have the loan. Insurance payment, utilities. Have you seen sometimes a property is there, they don't have electricity, right? We have to go to the power company, what do you call it? Georgia Power, right?
Right.
For them to put a pole, right? And bring power into the building. All right. These are all costs that we need to incur before the banks give us money. Utilities.
Property taxes.
This is my home. One of my wholesalers called me about a deal that
That's right. Always working.
Okay. So down payment. So when I say front money partners, these are people that will raise the money, right, to pay for all these costs. It might cost about maybe 30, 40, 50, it depends. Now that excludes how much money we're going to put down to really get a construction money.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
No, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And you gotta pay that until you get it sold.
Until we go to the bank, not even until we scale, because this is just to help us to go, because before we go to the bank for them to give us the money for the construction, right?
Right.
We have to have plans, drawings. All right. We have to show a survey. We have to give them permit. We have to give them all this
All
information.
that. Okay.
And then we have to put money down for them, maybe 20, whatever percent, for them to give us the money.
Mhm.
Because you remember, I told you our winning formula is going for a certain market. Now, if you're buying a property and it's just going to upgrade and do that, and you have to go do all plans and stuff like that, then it's not going to, you're not going to go to all of this. But ours, sometimes we tear down the whole building and do ground up.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Sometimes we have to add.
But you've been in the business for a long time, so that's what you do, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Right.
Okay, okay. So sometimes we have to add additional square footage for us to get the comps that we want. Okay, when we go into the comps, I'll explain it. So before we go to the bank, these are the things that we have to do out of pocket.
Okay.
So we might need, so then I have people, 3 or 4 people, hey, John, hey, Miss Taylor, I have this deal, you want to come in, whatever, right? Hey, I have $20,000, I say, hey, $20,000, if I lose, you're not going to, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But that's how we raise the money to do this.
Oh, okay.
And then we'll go to the bank. The bank will refund us all this money. Okay.
Oh,
But we have to do that first.
right.
And those money come from people that are called fund money partners. Because remember, I told you, I don't care how much money I have or somebody have, right? I mean, if I have $50,000 and I might do one deal and it's in there, I haven't sold it, the money is tied down. I need money from somewhere else. And even if you read these big people, big people making millions, they all go borrow money somewhere. They put group together, they do this together, they put their money together. That's how it's done. You can't do it on your own. Or else you just buy one property and you sit on it forever,
Right.
If you want to make some good money, you have to, go out and try to raise money, So now, like, maybe I thought about you having to, but sometimes I always believe that when you take a seminar or participate, it just opens your mind and you start thinking about something. Now you'll be reading something and say, hey, George was talking about it. That makes sense. And you start expanding your mind to see what is possible. Oh, I can raise $1 million, The money becomes like, it's not a big deal,
Right.
But you have to start thinking like that,
Right.
Somebody said something and I thought about it. He said, when Martin Luther King was saying, he didn't say I have a strategy, he said I have a dream, You have to have a dream, and it makes sense.
Absolutely.
It makes sense to me, because once you dream, then you start looking at things possible,
Right.
Like now, I was telling Ceci that we're working on a subdivision. I mean, I never thought about that.
Right.
See, but but I expand my mind. I say it's possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything's possible.
It's possible. Anyway, let's just go through what I called understanding numbers, right? Real estate is numbers game. Numbers. Now, for my deals that we do, the first thing that I do when I want to buy a property is to see how much I can sell it for after I fix it.
Right.
We call it after repair value, ARV. So, and this is the typical deal that we're doing.
Wow, that's good.
You remember the property I told you is in Avondale Estates?
Yes.
We're getting permit and all that. These are the numbers.
Okay.
that I'm going to share with you. So this is not like something from just pulled from the air, right?
Right.
ARV is $650,000. That means after we buy the property, we've tear it out and build another one. This is how much we can sell it for, right? Now, purchase price is 169,000. All right.
Right.
Construction cost is $250,000. So
Okay.
if you add the construction cost, right,
Right.
and the purchase price, it comes to 419.
Okay.
Now, if you subtract the 419 minus the 650, right, that is the gross profit.
Okay.
Now, there is something called Rule 70, Rule RULE 70. I'm going to explain it to you. Rule 70 says that if you are doing a buy, fix, and sell property, right, you multiply the ARV by 650, by 70, by Rule 70.
Okay.
Okay, I did it down here, right? When you come
Right.
down there, and then I'll explain something to you. You see, it says 650
Right.
multiplied by 70
Right.
is 455,000.
Okay.
Those two numbers, your purchase price and your construction cost should equal that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Now,
then you take the 4.
from these numbers, it seems like we got a better deal, right? Because the number is 419. Go back, see where I say construction, purchase,
Right.
and construction is 419. But using Rule 70, everything should have added up to 455. That means we have a lot of rooms to play around with.
Okay.
Ask a question. I know there's something is just.
So the rules are so 455. So why do you 455,000 minus the 169,000,
Okay.
the purchase price?
Okay. What it did was, you see the 455? Okay, 455, right? Now, minus 169 is how much we bought a property for, right?
Right.
Before we fix it, right?
Right.
So it's telling us that $286,000 we have more money for the construction.
Oh, okay. For construction costs. Okay.
But when we did it, right? Because when we did it, like, I didn't use this Rule 70. So sometimes when I did the deal, I want to use the Rule 70 to see if it makes sense.
Okay, right. Oh, I see. To make sense, right? When I hear that.
Yeah, to verify the numbers.
Right, the numbers have to make sense. Right,
Yes.
that's what I hear all the time. Okay.
Because you see,
Gotcha.
that's why I'm a realtor and I'm an agent, right?
Right.
And
So
I
you
wrote this
have
book, right? And I say, investors, they don't care. As long as the numbers make sense. They don't care about interest rate. They don't care about nothing. Not that they don't care, but the numbers is what tells the story. For example, the guy just called me. He said, he just texted me, George, you are lucky. I think we have a deal. Because my investors that I send a deal to, they say, hey, this is how much we can pay, right? If the numbers doesn't make sense, they just move on to some other deal.
Right.
Okay. So once this, even with inflation, with everything going on, because there's a lot of meat in there. The profit margin is 650 minus, let's say 419 or 455, whatever it is. Okay, let's subtract 650 plus minus 419. 650 minus 419. That's how much the profit margin is. 650 minus 419. 650 minus 419. $231,000.
And you got the after repair value
Mm-hmm.
through comps.
Through comps.
Through what
Through comps.
others? Okay.
Mm-hmm. As an agent, or you know, you can know that the property in this subdivision or in this area, right, is selling for 650, 690. That means if I'm able to finish the project and the project compares favorably with other in the area, I'll get the same. If we have 4 bedrooms, I have to do 4 bedrooms.
4 bedrooms, right?
If we have 2 bathrooms, I have to do 2. The square footage have to be the same. So we do all of that.
Right. Okay.
So I know that it's 650 or more. But out of that gross profit, we have to pay agent fee. We have to pay this. If I borrow money from the investors, we have to pay them and all kinds of stuff.
Interest, right?
So that's what the numbers is. So you can practice, anytime you see a property, for example, when the guys send me a property, that's the first thing I do. They say, oh, the property is 200. Then I go and do a little quick comps quickly.
Right.
Makes sense. And I make the
okay.
I make the offer. I don't care.
Sounds like a plan.
I just had a nice deal for this guy. We're just on a contract right now, right? It's in Woodstock. I can't believe it. The property was $300,000. That's how much they're selling it, right?
Right.
But the owners had added additional bathroom. All right. So the square footage is even bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Now on Zillow, because Zillow doesn't know about the additional order. So the Zillow is saying about Zillow said, in fact, a week ago, Zillow said 326. Now Zillow is saying 350. But if you do the actual square footage and upgrade everything, you can sell that property for $500,000.
Yeah.
In Woodstock. And guess what? And guess what? You don't have to, it doesn't need like tearing down and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
It's on a 1 acre lot. You might need maybe 30, 40. We went there with a couple, $30,000, $40,000. So 30, 300 plus, let's say 50, 350 minus 150, minus $500,000, $150,000. Cool, you can walk away with $70,000. Nice property. I don't even put things on Facebook and all that. I just went there, took pictures. I just do video. I just put it in there because it's a good. There are some deals around, Yeah, there are some.
Right.
Well, blew my mind. An acre. And the owner told me, "Oh, George, over here they're selling lot for about $229,000 or $300,000 lots."
Oh, the lots, yeah.
Yes, that's.
Oh.
And this is in the 1 acre.
Oh.
And they haven't lived in the building in 2 years. It's empty.
It's
It's
been
a lot of
vacant?
junk. It's junk, but it's
oh my God, that is great. Oh my God.
They put new roof, new HVAC. Oh boy, unbelievable. Anyway, there are deals around.
Yeah, you just have to look.
Okay, now we are about to finish. Managing the rehab, right? That is an area, you remember we talk about risk involved?
Mm-hmm.
That is where you really have to have a good contract.
Right.
That's why like our company, we have a partnership with our contractor that, and they have an interest, they, if they do well, they get part of the profit and stuff like that.
Right.
So it's able to get it done and get it done on time and stuff like that. That's very, very important. So managing the rehab is one of the biggest area for buy, fix, and sell strategy.
Mhm.
that winning formula. You have to be able to manage that area very, very well. You know, because sometimes I remember we were doing a project and nosy neighbor didn't like us. I don't know, but reported. We did a retaining wall and didn't just like my country or whatever, right? So reported it to the city, and they came and inspected and put what we call stop order. You know what stop order means? That means you can't do the work until whatever.
Oh, they had to put on, so you had to put it on hold.
It's put on hold for another 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, and we're talking about the risk involved. That is risk that you might face doing a project. You know, they come because they have to come and inspect. And something that you're not supposed to do, you do it. They come, they just put a stop order. In our property in Scottsdale, I went there the other day. There's another project in front of us, right? And you know when you go to a construction site, they have like a steel, like something like a black something that like covers the whole property,
right?
To prevent like sand from coming into the street.
Oh yes, I know what you're talking about, like a fence.
Like a fence, small fence like that, right? What
A
they didn't do,
barrier.
or what about maybe rain and it tore it down, right? And the
Oh.
inspectors were coming around, they saw it, they put a stop order. Okay.
So they fined you? You had to put they gave you a fine?
They will ask you to go and correct it.
Oh, correct it. Okay.
Correct it, and then they'll come make sure that it's corrected, and then
at a certain time, right?
Yeah, they pull a stop order. But if they put a stop order and they come see you, they come find you still doing some work on it, you're in trouble.
Right.
They can give you a citation to appear in court or fine you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that is all part of managing the rehab process and the risks involved.
Right.
So
that's why you get it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
A general manager, right? When you say
Yes.
rehab supervisor.
Yeah, global contract supervisor to just keep an eye on everything.
Right.
Yeah. And keep an eye on the money, the budgeting process.
Right. And the budget, right? Not go over budget, right?
So everything being equal, risk is very, very high doing rehab projects. Or like doing a little bit buying and cleaning up and renting. I mean, renting to you might have a tenant that might pay, but that's something that you can take them to court or whatever, you know. But so that's what I mean by the risk involved. Now, the marketing and selling process. In most of our property, because it's on the high end, we stage them, take nice pictures, and then sometimes I'm an agent, but sometimes we even have different agents to manage it for us, you know, to sell it for us, because they do on a higher distance. Do you have any? Hold on a second, let me see something.